spaceships and abductions, all of this are from the jinn race, and their number 10 times the human number. Their reality is of a fiery nature. As a result of their fiery nature, their unstable creation, that angels being from water, and water is stable, and the angels of light and reality, because some people say, oh I thought they're from light. Yes, they're from light, but they carry the secret of Mai, and the secret of Mai is that it's a very stable matter. And to be like water means that you're stable, you're neither igniting and you're not going up or you're not going down. That even in its cold state water keeps its secret, because the miraculous nature of water is that it freezes from the top down, not from the down up, otherwise all the lakes and rivers would be frozen and our life would cease to exist. Water has an immense reality, and Allah describes that my creation was, my throne was upon this power, and that this creation is coming from the reality of water. And this angelic nature and its stable reality is what Allah wants for us to move towards the reality of that stable element. The element of fire is unstable by its nature, those creatures are unstable, and as a result they are in a perpetual state of war. When we understand that their nation and their reality is continuously battling, continuously fighting, and their lifetime is in the thousands of years, not like our lifespan of 80, 90 or even 100, 120 years, 130 years. Theirs are in the thousand, there are 2,000, 3,000 years that the jinn life is in existence. Many of the jinn sahabi are still in existence. So it means the jinn world is not something that is clearly understood by insan, but as a result they know that their nature is of a fiery nature, and as a result their nations are in perpetual battles, continuously fighting. As a result of those battles and those difficulties, when they attach themselves, the negative beings and negative entities, and they attach themselves to human clans and human tribes and human beings, those battles outlive many generations of humans. And that's some of the understanding why some families are in a perpetual difficulty. If for some reason 100 years ago, 200 years ago for example, there's some sort of a difficulty and one of the more nefarious beings have attached themselves to that family, their lifespan again is 1,000, 2,000 years. That person lives 100, but when that person passes they're still attacking that family line, and they have generations of difficulty because of the lifespan of that enemy. When the enemy lives 2,000 years and you live 100, it's about 20 spans of life that they're attached to people. So this is an understanding towards why negativity, why certain people have these difficulties. And it's important to understand that realm, to understand the energy realm, and not to research them per se, but to understand that when we're teaching by energy and the importance of energy, how to make the connection, it's by default protecting you against that. Instead of focusing on the problem, they teach the solution. So if somebody wants to just teach about that realm and it's scary and recite scary things to people, but they don't teach you again the solution. Again, like looking for Juj and Majuj, for what? Are you planning on digging them up and helping them out? So the point of these teachings was for the solution. If you don't believe in energy, then we have to validate and say, no, The nefarious energy is the source of all your sickness, all the sources of your difficulty. Every type of hardship that coming towards insan is they're attaching and they're attacking and they're causing difficulties. So its solution is the understanding of one's personal development, how to resonate at a much higher reality, how to make your connection to the best of power sources, the most eternal source of power, which is Allah through the heart of Sayyidina Muhammad is immensely important. When people are emailing and describing that this is an example of the problem, then remind me to go back towards its solution. When people are emailing that I took your advice and I'm listening to the talks and I'm starting to recite Dalal Khirat and all sorts of difficulties are now happening, I'm having all sorts of bizarre energy feelings, all sorts of this and that and this and that, so what should I do? And I didn't sign up for this. Again, like anything else, when we don't understand how bad our environment is, and like going to a doctor's office and you don't know that you have cancer and you think that every day you're going out and everything is fine, and you enter into a doctor's office, they do a scan, they come back and say, by the way, you know, you have cancerous cells, God forbid, all over your body, you're very sick, you just haven't realized that yet. You have to then go for medicine, and a lot of times the medicine actually in the purging of the sickness makes every type of negativity come out. There's all sorts of sicknesses and vomitings and every badness has to come out for the person to return to a state of health and goodness and wellness. Imagine then the spiritual realm where that 90% or 99% of the population is going around and they're filled with negativity, filled upon themselves, filled from their walk, from their work, from their food, from their drink, from their homes, from the sounds that they hear, from the movies that they watch, from the environment that surrounds them with negativity. They're filled with these negative beings around. They're like a cancer. And as soon as you introduce a zikr or awrad, a meditation, and that's why it's a full package, you can't implement some of these things without having a tremendous difficulty, you're required to implement as much as possible. So imagine now you spark a light for us just to understand, and then our graphic guys can make it more graphic, that we live a life of darkness, everywhere is dark. And like that movie we gave the example, was it Pitch Black or something, where you don't know the creatures that are all around. And as soon as we do an action of light, boom, the light goes off and you look around and there's all this negativity that was so happy just sort of living around us and on us, and we are like the battery for them. They feed off of our being. As soon as you do an action of light, what happens now? Wajal haq, wa Allah say that when the truth comes, the falsehood perishes. And falsehood by its nature zahukan, it's crumbling, it's not something that is eternal. So when there's all this negativity and we do an action of haqq, means from the heavens, that they're hayyun qayyum, the zikrs, the practices, the breathings, these are from the ocean of the hayat and qayyum, that it's eternal light, eternal power from Divinely Presence. As soon as you bring this ball of haqq, what happens is it begin to attack every type of negativity, because the truth and the false, they don't sit in the same place and how are you? It brings all sorts of positive energies and positive beings. As a result, now these positive beings are in a conflict with every negativity around us. And that's exactly what Allah wanted, is let the positive light come in and begin to push away all these negativities. So there's of course going to be a difficulty, of course there's going to be all sorts of conflict and battles and pushings, and every type of positive energy wants to come in and now establish the kingdom of Allah upon the servant and upon the servant's domain. So that requires a tremendous amount of house cleaning. So imagine your house is filled with a bunch of horrific motorcycle bikers and gangs and all sorts of difficulties, and one day you decided to bring home a friend who was a police officer. Yeah. He comes into the house and he's not scared of them, he's just going to start taking names, shooting, firing and throwing them all in jail. And they're not going peacefully, they're not interested in they're probably going to try to throw the police officer out. So this is for us just to understand the depth of the difficulty in which people are living in, and then they're surprised that, oh this stuff actually worked. But they don't think that way, they just think, oh when I did this all these difficulties started to happen. That was a sign that it was working. It's like you called the police, heavenly police. When the heavenly police come, they absolutely not fearing these creatures at all, and they begin to beat them, throw them and kick them out. And that's exactly what is required, that they be pushed out of the life of people. But as a result, everything the shaykh gave for you to do that was a part of the importance. You put your taweez as your protection, these are ni'mat from heavens. We put the taweezes upon the house. I learned the concept of wudu so that I'm clean. As they're about to fight, I want to make sure that I have a shield. My shield is the light, my shield is the wudu. I learned then how am I supposed to protect myself while the heavenly beings are getting rid of all of these nefarious creatures. I should be meditating, I should be bringing my light to a much more powerful resonance. So I begin to do my zikr, my awrads. When you're doing awrads, what's happening? So people want to know, is it exactly like this one? Is this 13? Can I do this awrad? Can I do that awrad? Can I add more awrad? Just do what they've asked you to do as the basic Naqshbandi awrad and recitation. The reality of that awrad is that as soon as you recite what they asked you to recite, the resonance and the sound vibration and all its barakah and immense realities, they dress the soul. So when they ask you make 70 istighfar, astaghfirullah al-azim, astaghfirullah al-azim, it brings a resonance and an energy onto the soul. And that energy of the soul of istighfar is washing away and hitting at every negativity, every negativity, every negativity. So the whole awrad and the recitation was given and designed for the cleansing, the blessings, makes the soul now to resonate at a much higher level of resonance of energy. So when the energy of somebody is raised, what happens? The lower energy can't come because it's now pushing it away. What shaitan wants is they go back to listening to these bad music and bad movies and bad sounds and before you know you're resonating almost below the level of demons. And as a result they just walk right into people, they occupy them, they occupy their heart. There's been many children who listen to these rap songs, drink these drinks, play video games and have heart attack and have sicknesses, they have possessions, they have shaking and uncontrollable, almost like epilepsy, they start to shake and convulse. And people are thinking, oh maybe he was playing too many video games. No, it's a possession. They're resonating so low that these creatures are entering and possessing that insan, and their natural spirit from Allah doesn't want to surrender the body, and that's why they're shaking, convulsing and having difficulty. So these are all spiritual and energy attacks. That's why the shaykhs give the whole package, that put the taweez upon the house, make sure you understand wudu, that you're always in wudu and all parts of the body have to be washed. You don't just wash your face and not your bottom parts, because that's where shaitan will be attacking. Then you fortify yourself, then you practice, I'm going to breathe and bring my energy, I'm going to make my connection. And somebody then emailed, well I thought we only connect with Allah. Again, this is like the kindergarten, everything is from Allah. So everyone is connecting to Allah, and this is why then anyone who thinks like that, next time you get stuck on the road don't call a tow truck, just call Allah, because everything is from Allah. So He gave you a phone to call for a tow truck. Because the tow truck is the wasila, it's a means in which Allah will reach to you.